Alright semuanya. Jadi cuy, di episode kali ini gua ingin melihat cuy alasan kenapa konten kreator ini quit dari Genshin Impact gitu untuk memainkan Wuthering Waves gitu ya kan. Dari Bank Gacha DG2 cuy. Karena gua penasaran cuy alasan kenapa dia quit atau mungkin berhenti Genshin itu kenapa gitu ya kan. Ya kita bisa lihat lah. Kita bisa lihat dan cari tahu cuy apa yang ingin disampaikan oleh Bang Gacha DG2 ini cuy. Jadi ya, let's go.
Since Arlecchino's first banner, I am officially going to document my retirement from the game to play Wuthering Waves. Now don't get me wrong, I've been playing Wuthering Waves for a while now, and I haven't been playing Genshin Impact as much the past couple of months, but I just can't ignore the egregious issues anymore that this game has, and I finally ripped off the band-aid and deleted Genshin Impact from my computer and my PS5. I'm not going to disclose how much money I spent on the game, but let's just say I spent a lot more than the average player would. Definitely way more than I should have. So trust me when I say this is not a hate video. I love Genshin Impact just as much as anyone else. If you can remember your first time playing Genshin Impact, it is the most magical experience out of any video game you could ever play. And that might sound silly if you've never played, but if you know, you know. I'll never forget hearing the loading screen soundtrack for the first time. So now I want to get into the main reasons why I quit Genshin Impact. One of my main issues, if not the number one issue I have with Genshin Impact, is the fact that it seems like the developers are pretty much non-existent in the game. It seems like if there's not a blockbuster character coming out, every single patch is just stalling time until that really hyped character finally gets released. For example, it really felt like Natlin was just an advertisement for Malwika until she came out. She got glazed super hard in the story to the point where it didn't even make any sense, and it seemed like they were really just forcing her onto us for no reason. In my opinion, Farina was the best Archon to ever be released in Genshin Impact, and I don't remember her ever being as shielded close to as much as Malwika. Malwika is like that one girl who had super rich parents growing up, and she's so full of herself that unironically her personality is boring. On top of that, her design doesn't even fit Genshin Impact. She just looks like an OnlyFans model who's never worked a day in her life. But I'm
what the hell?
Getting off topic, in my opinion, the most notable quality of life gameplay feature that Genshin added in their 5.0 patches was the sanctifying elixir, making it to where you can craft your own artifact. It's cool that you can choose 2 substats for your artifact, but it doesn't make any sense that you can only use it once per patch cycle.
Wah gila sih. Sebenarnya ini bagus ya, bisa ganti substat tuh. Nah ini cuy, sebenarnya KOL ini bagus ya, yang dimana lu bisa ganti substat. Cuman yang jadi problem adalah buat dapetin barang ini, itu lu harus battle pass gitu. Atau enggak ya, sekali tuh buat dapetin satu aja ya lu perlu 1 bulan gitu. Ya mungkin that's the problem gitu ya kan. Mungkin bakal diwajarkan kalau misalkan lu bisa dapat ini 1 bulan itu ya 5 lah. Dapat 5 biji gitu cuy. Menurut gua sih masih oke sih. Kalau misalkan progresnya tuh gak pengen terlalu cepet ya kan, sedang-sedang aja, menurut gua ya 5 per bulan sih it's okay gitu. Daripada 1 bulan tuh cuma dapat 1 anjing sumpah.
They're making it to where you can craft your own artifact. It's cool that you can choose 2 substats for your artifact, but it doesn't make any sense that you can only use it once per patch cycle. For me, this was the start of me breaking my daily login streak. Once I saw that you could only use it once per patch, I just stopped getting on the game. Because how are you going to give us a feature we've been asking for so long and then put some weird restriction on it? What makes the situation even more odd is that their other Hoyoverse game, Zenless Zone Zero, has a better version of this. In Zenless Zone Zero, you can make custom artifacts whenever you want, as long as you have the materials. How is it that Zenless and Genshin are under the same Hoyoverse umbrella, but Zenless has a better version of the same exact feature you have in your game? So yeah, I could bring up the fact that Wuthering Waves also has a custom artifact system, but the fact that a game under your same company has a way better feature than you do and it's very similar, there's no excuse for you not to have it in your game. Let me talk to you, yes you, watching this video right now. Genshin is literally never going to improve their game because the game has already made multi-billions, not millions, billions. Do you want to know why?
Wow.
Zenless has unlimited resin overflow, custom artifacts whenever you want, faster dailies, unlimited weekly boss challenges, and consistent updates to gameplay. It's because Zenless Zone Zero is struggling in Hoyoverse standards. If you wanted the short answer as to why Genshin Impact will never improve, it's because the game made too much money. That's it. You think Genshin and Nintendo devs are just chilling in Cancun right now, kicking back, or having a cold drink, and just laughing about how they can put out a lackluster product and still get billions of dollars in return?
Ya Jay, selagi apa ya, selagi Genshin Impact tuh top pendapatan, menurut gua kata-kata improve yang bener-bener improve cuy, itu kayak nggak bakalan terjadi gitu ya kan. Walaupun udah ada kompetitor kayak Wuwa gitu ya kan, Wuwa udah mencoba untuk menampar Genshin cuy, cuma selagi Genshin Impact itu top pendapatan ya kan, mereka bisa ya kasihlah barang produk yang biasa aja gitu, atau mungkin dengan effort kecil lah, gak effort yang sedang-sedang aja gitu, nggak perlu terlalu gimana-gimana gitu. Gue yakin playernya pasti suka cuy, itu pasti gitu.
Can't tell me a good reason why there's not unlimited stamina yet in a game that's been out for 5 years. You can't tell me one good reason as to why there's not artifact loadouts.
Yap.
You can't tell me one good reason as to why the weapon banner isn't at least a 75-25. Please. Fuck my ass. While both of your other Hoyoverse games have a 75-25 on their weapon banner. Speaking of Mawika, she is one of the main examples of my issues with the most recent Genshin Impact characters. Not only is she an industry plant, she's a blatant example of power creep. The one thing that I really praised Genshin for over the years was the fact that they didn't power creep their game compared to other gachas. Fontaine was a little bit of a slippery slope with Nuvolette and Farina, but it wasn't as bad until we got to Mawika. This character literally shattered the damage ceiling of the game. And you might be saying, well DG, it doesn't matter if she's the strongest character in the game. She's an Archon. Let me tell you why a character that does literal tiers worth of damage more than this.
Oh bang, kan dia Archon gitu, jadi damage-nya harusnya gede gitu. Kalau misalkan Archon damage-nya gak gede, itu namanya bukan Archon bang, dan lain sebagainya gitu. Itu mah Void Hunter, jadi wajar lah kalau Void Hunter damage-nya gede. Itu mah wajar Emanator, kalau Emanator damage-nya gak gede mah itu bukan Emanator namanya. Udah sih, bau-bau power creep cuy. Yang menyebabkan power creep tuh itu sebenarnya.
2.5 million damage per rotation.
Hell no.
In the Spiral Abyss have to be adjusted to that damage per rotation accordingly. And then to finally create some variety, other characters have to be released at that echelon of power or greater. So even beside her personality, she's super toxic for the game because eventually a character is going to have to break through her damage ceiling as well. And that character could be Skirk, but hopefully not. Right now, I think it's the first time in Genshin history the top 10 characters are majority Natlin units. And with some of the latest abysses heavily favoring characters that have the Night Soul blessing state that Natlin units offer, it feels really scummy from Hoyoverse. And speaking of regional gimmicks, don't think that the next couple of regions won't have the exact same thing. Maybe not anything like Night Soul, but they'll definitely have a mechanic that forces you to pull for the new character in order to feel better about clearing the abyss. Or even worse, a mechanic that makes it feel better to explore within that certain region, but not anywhere else on the map for some reason. If they want to make us feel bad for not wanting to pull new characters or not balance their game, they could at least give us more pulls per patch to compensate for them being incompetent. Don't even get me started on how the events have been terrible for the 5.0 patches. Guys, just look at this.
Jadi itu serius sih.
All valid points. All valid points. All valid points.
I'm probably gonna over-edit this, but this is not even funny. A live service game that makes billions of dollars making events like this is literally an insult to our time. When your content in the game is you have Mawika and you can put a blindfold on and clear the abyss with your hands tied behind your back, or when you don't have her, the abyss feels awful to play, the story being an actual snooze fest, and the side quests not even being voice acted. But don't worry, we're gonna get to the story later. And exploration in Natlin feeling awful if you don't pull for a Natlin unit. Your content patch to patch is just events. And in 2025, the game came out in 2020 by the way, we're still recycling events. At one point, I just stopped getting on to do events because they're that boring. I'm confused. Is there nobody creative in that dev studio? And if not, I'm right here. If Hoyoverse is watching this, you guys can hire me. I can fix your game literally within 1 month. So about the story of Genshin Impact, Fontaine was actually amazing and one of my favorite stories of all time in any medium. On the contrary, Natlin was worse than some children's books I've read. My friends had to force me to watch the rest of the Natlin Archon quest after 5.2 because I literally stopped doing it in my actual game because it was that boring. And by the way, is Capitano just never gonna come out at this point? I had been waiting for Capitano's drip marketing all throughout Natlan and it just never came out. So is he just dead at this point or what's happening with him? I remember the first time doing the 5.1 Archon quest, I think, and Kinich just wasn't talking. At first, I thought it had to be a problem on my end because there's no way a billion-dollar company would let something like this slip through the cracks for their main story quest. But lo and behold, then it was Kachina, then it was Shalonin, then it was somebody else, then it was somebody else, until eventually half of the goddamn characters weren't talking. Actually, DG, it's because the English VAs were on strike. I don't care. If a company is making that much money, I want to...
Maksudnya nggak ngobrol tuh nggak ada voice-nya kah? Atau mungkin lebih ke arah ya dalam dialognya tuh mereka bener-bener nggak ngomong cuy. Cuman kayak nggak mungkin sih. Nggak mungkin cuy.
Hear my characters being voiced in my video game. That right there was one of the main things that for sure showed me that they don't care about this game. I'm okay if your no-name characters in side quests aren't voiced, but it is so immersion breaking to be in a main story quest and not hear one of the most important characters in the story not speaking and his mouth is moving. If you didn't play the Natlan Archon quest and want it summed up in 3 points, I'm gonna save you a lot of time. The quote-unquote war was basically just a party most of the time. Mawika was glazed harder than LeBron James, and Hoyoverse hates Capitano and his fan base. And regardless of what I've been saying in this video, you might have thought that I didn't pull Mawika. I actually did, but this game is so inconvenient to play and building characters feels so much like a chore that I just got off because I didn't feel like it. The day I pulled her, her talent domain wasn't even open. Do you really think I give a fuck? Now before I say goodbye to Genshin Impact for good, I want to give you 3 main reasons why Wuthering Waves is better. Number 1, gameplay. The only thing Genshin Impact at this point has going for it is that their elemental system is better than Wuthering Waves. Besides that, Wuthering Waves has dodges, parries, intro skills, outro skills, and a lot more ways to interact with their gameplay system rather than just mixing colors together. Number 2, quality of life. If you want to know why I said
kalau quality of life nggak
was
perlu ditanya deh.
convenient to play Wuthering Waves for 30 minutes and then try to log back on to Genshin Impact. Number 3, devs listen. As much of a meme as this might seem, this is the most important thing for a live service gacha game to have. The launch for this game was pretty horrible. The voice actors sounded like they just showed up to work after a 3-day bender. The game was constantly crashing, and the actual story itself was horrendous. But the devs immediately communicated and gave compensation for their mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but the difference between the Genshin devs and the Wuwa devs is that Wuthering Waves developers take care of issues immediately. If you tell the Genshin devs that you have a problem with their story, they'll give you a boring event with none of their major characters voice acted in English, and a chronicled wish banner with higher pity that runs once every 2 years with your favorite character on it. With the most recent 2.4 update in Wuthering Waves, the devs aren't slowing down with this fire content anytime soon. So if you like gacha games, I can confidently recommend you Wuthering Waves because it is the best gacha game on the market right now. So farewell, Genshin Impact. I love you all. You look cute today. Peace.
Yes sir. Alasan kenapa Bang Gacha DG quit dari Genshin Impact cuy. Udah dijelasin juga beberapa alasannya. Mungkin emang lebih rata-rata orang Pensi itu emang di Natlan sih. Cuman itu tadi karena ekspektasi mereka tidak sesuai cuy dengan apa yang mereka harapkan gitu. Simpelnya seperti itu ya. Cuman ya kalau misalkan lu masih enjoy ya kan dengan yang seperti itu ya menurut gua it's fine gitu. Untuk standar Genshin menurut gua it's fine sih. It's fine gitu ya kan. Tapi gimana cuy menurut kalian persoalan ini? Kalian bisa tulis aja cuy di kolom komentar gitu ya kan. Mungkin itu aja dari gua. See ya. Shush, let's go.